According to the article made by Guardian and various other news outlets, there are 5 million dogs being killed in Vietnam. The tradition has been a part of many Southeast Asian cultures for many generations. Till this day, it is being consumed and sold in countries such as China, South Korea, and Vietnam. For many youngsters and adults alike, it is normal for them to have a dog pet at home while eating one outside.
With the uprising of dog meat, the demand has increased as well. Dog meat traders are now looking for alternatives to getting the dogs. Many dog meat vendors now look towards dog thieves or dog snatchers as another way to get their dogs. It is important to note that the main source of income for many families are their dogs. They feed them, they raise them, and then they sell them.
For other families, they're just common household pets which they love. It has become such a common problem that when villagers and household owners find these thieves, it leads to many of them getting beaten up to death. This raises the question, is dog meat ethical? And if it is it worth humans to die for?
As a dog meat trader, what are your thoughts on the killing and selling of dogs in Vietnam for money?
Dogs are the source of income in our neighborhoods. We make sure they're nurtured properly until they grow up. Later, they're sent to slaughterhouses. It isn't about the ethicality of dog meat, but the necessity they serve us. Raising dogs and giving them away is the life of future generations. I was one of the first ones to make a living out of dog meat, hence I prospered in the business before any other. Now, I can't just abandon my only source of living just for the sake of being ethical.
As a researcher, what have you observed in Vietnam regarding dog meat?
Well, I've been traveling around many villages in Vietnam, and in all the villages, I've observed the rising issue of dog meat. Many trucks make their way across the villages, dropping hundreds of dogs that are being killed. As a person of science, I do see this as very unethical. Humanity has slumped down because humans are ready to kill their companions that have been loyal to them throughout the centuries. Dogs have evolved and prospered with humans, and now it is unbelievable to see that the violence with humans and dogs exists. Now, a few minutes ago, I interviewed a dog meat trader about his thoughts on how dogs are treated in Vietnam. Now, as a rice farmer, what are your thoughts about how dogs are treated in Vietnam? What do you see happening daily?
Daily, I see many huge trucks carrying dogs all around town as I harvest and plant my rice crops. I often felt that killing dogs and eating them isn't very ethical to society. Dogs that are going to be taken as pets are being eaten. Where has humanity disappeared in all these people who do business with dogs? I understand that it is business for them, but they should think about the many morals that may make these people rethink the idea about doing business with dogs. To be honest, if I had taken part in the
murder of
dog
dogs for
business,
meat and money
I would have
is
prospered,
unethical
but my
because the process
ideals
of killing
and
dogs
beliefs
includes
would never let me
inhumane
be
torture.
involved.
To capture dogs, many people steal dogs, cram them into small cages, and finally beat them for meat. According to Patrick Wynn, the author of the article on dog meat, this hierarchy is often hashed out through violence. Pets are spared the savagery because order is imposed by an indisputable leader, the human. Other websites show the inhumane tactics used by dog meat traders by stating they shove a tube into their stomach and pump solid rice and water in them to increase their weight for sale. Nagun has a simpler method for bumping up profits, said another one. When we want to increase the weight, we put a stone in the dog's mouth. Here, the author clearly displays that dogs get tortured for their meat. Lastly, dogs have lived and evolved with humans. Their help has been heavily beneficial to the humans.
For example, many dogs help veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder by providing them emotional support. In addition, trained dogs like guard dogs have saved many people multiple times over the last few years. According to CNN, during an incident in 2015, a service dog, after getting hit by a car, tried his best to get to his owner on 3 legs. It states he was trying even though he was so hurt so badly. You know he was only on 3 legs at the time. He was still trying to get to the blind woman as much as he
Many
could.
people might argue that dog meat is ethical because people have been eating dog meat for millions of years. They fail to realize that just like us, the dogs have developed as well. Honestly, we don't feel differently towards a chicken or a dog, says Gwen Antoine, a Hanoi resident who works for one of America's biggest tech firms. He's also an avid dog eater. Chicken, fish, dog, they're all the same. He fails to realize that the dog is called a man's best friend. Dogs are called a man's best friend not because they're nutritious, but because they're emotionally connected with us. In Vietnam, however, it is reality to see a household pet turn into dinner for a family overnight. This was the case for one family in Vietnam, according to Unreported World. Hence, murder for dog meat is unethical and it should be banned in Vietnam. Murder of dogs for meat is unethical and inhumane. People from around the world should get together and help find a solution for this problem. As discussed before, dogs can be very useful to humans, and their murder for humans' selfish needs is illogical.